nativeKONTROL Universal is compatible with Live 6 and 7, including LE and Light versions, Reaper 2, FL Studio 7 and 8, Mackie Traction 3, Reason 3 and 4, including adapted versions, Acid 6, and Vegas 7. First we'll go over the control surface section, and that's the encoder and all 19 buttons on the front of the pad control. Alright, and what those controls do is slightly different depending on which application you're using, but generally they're relatively similar. Alright, so let me just go through them real quick. On the encoder, you normally have the scroll wheel, sometimes volume and tempo control. You have the undo button right next to that. Underneath that is the marker controls. You got jump to previous marker, jump to next marker, add marker, sometimes delete markers. Underneath that are the 6 transport controls. You got play, stop, record, rewind, fast forward, and loop. On the vertical buttons, you got track previous, track next, or track up, track down. Then the punch button, and then the shift button. And with shift, you can get multiple functions out of the buttons. For example, undo. If you press shift plus undo, you get redo. Under shift, you got mute, solo, and arm for whichever track you're controlling. And at the top, you got in and out, which jump to in and out points, or sometimes set in and out points. Now I'll give you a couple examples of the way it works in specific applications. Here's the map for FL Studio. You got scroll on the encoder. You can move up and down patterns. You can set regions. You can toggle between pattern and song mode. And a really cool feature I think is the ability to speed up and slow down playback. Alright, then we'll move to Acid, and here you can do scroll and volume from the encoder. You can insert audio and MIDI tracks. You can toggle MIDI merge mode, toggle the metronome, and open up the render dialog. In Traction, you can do a whole lot of stuff. You got scroll and volume again. You could save, you can toggle snapping, you can toggle click, you can zoom in and out, zoom to fit, and you control over different automation modes, and you can set in and out points, jump to in and out points. You can bring up an on-screen map of the controls that's semi-transparent, and it's application specific. So for example, I'm running Live right now, and it's showing me just the map for Live. If I was running Reaper, it would show me just the map for Reaper. Alright, and the manuals work the same way. The XY pad controls the mouse cursor, and while your finger's on the pad, the shift button becomes a left mouse click, so you can click on stuff, and you could do like drags and stuff. Also, while your finger's on the XY pad, you can use the encoder like a speed dial, so whatever you're hovering your mouse cursor over, you can take control over. There's 4 main pad modes: global, major modes, minor modes, and chord mode. Alright, and each one of those modes has several sub-modes, which we'll get into. And you can switch between these modes by holding down shift and using the bottom 4 pads, so pads 13 through 16. So we'll go through and talk about each one of those pad modes separately. Alright, so the first mode is global mode, and that has 3 sub-modes. You can switch between those by using shift and pad 13. So right now we're in chromatic mode. Go to edit mode and function mode, and then back to chromatic again. Alright, in chromatic mode, the pads are set up just like a keyboard. Alright, and you can switch between octaves by holding down shift and using knob 1. Or up octaves. Alright, knob 2 is used for fixed velocity. With this all the way off, the pads are just real velocity, however hard you hit them. But as soon as you turn this knob up a little bit, the value of the knob turns into the velocity of the pads. So if you want to do like full velocity, you turn it all the way to the right, and anywhere in between. In edit mode, you have access to 16 common editing keys. You have the arrow keys up, down, left, right with shift in the center. Then you got open, new, save, cut, copy, paste, delete, duplicate, space, enter, and tab. In function mode, the top 12 pads give you access to the F keys, F1 through F12, and the 3 pads on the bottom, pads 13 through 15, give you shift, control, and alt. So this gives you a total of 96 keyboard shortcuts you can access from this mode, and in certain applications like Reaper, for example, you can customize what those shortcuts do. The next 2 modes are both scale modes. You got the major modes, major, Lydian, mixed Lydian, and blues, which actually isn't a major scale, but it just fits there nice. And then in minor scales, you got minor, Dorian, Phrygian, and Locrian. Alright, and these all work exactly the same way. You have 2 octaves of the scale, And you can right now we're in the C minor scale. To select a different root note, though, you can use these 12 pads. So we're on C. You can move wherever you want, and you can also switch octaves, just like with the chromatic mode. The last mode is chord mode, and that has two sub-modes, major and minor, and those both work the same way. You have the 7 scale tone chords on the bottom 7 pads, and you can switch between inversions with this pad here. And as you can see, the display shows you which inversion you're on. So you got first inversion, second inversion, and root. Alright, and just like the scales, you can select the root note by these 12 pads here, and you can also move up and down octaves.